Hello, my name is Rab. This is my new video about Warframe. In this video I'll go with Ember. I made a mistake in my last video. I wasn't aware that I already had played with Dentron in the Meg video. I'm starting with the primes, so I'm following all the primes and then go to the normal warframes. I already had played with the Dentron in the Meg video, and I took Dentron as my secondary in the next video, so it was a mistake because, well, I already made so many videos that sometimes I forget what weapons I'll take. I decided only to make this about warframes and what builds I use in them. Once again, I like to say that this is my personal choice. It's not about the right or the wrong build. Each person have their own, and Ember is a clear fact of that because, well, I'm going to share my build. My build only have two abilities, is the fireball and accelerant. This is my primary build for this Ember Prime. In the normal Ember I have three abilities, that is fireball, accelerant, and here walled on fire. This Ember is to play lots of later missions, and I think walled on fire doesn't keep up with the enemy scaling, so I decided to remove it in this build. Since I have the two embers, there's no point to use the same build in the two. So, but as you can see, I didn't converted this polarized slot. Why? Because I still have the ability to make a damage build. If I want to make a damage build with this Ember, I still can do that because I have the polarized slots for that. But for the build I'm using, okay, I'm going to explain. This is the aura. I decided not to change it, so I'm using the rifle amp, then fireball and accelerant as my abilities. Continuity to boost duration of accelerant, more constitution. This I find it enough for the utility I want to give to accelerant. Flow to boost the energy pool. Stretch to give range to accelerant, and this about survivability. I use vigor only to make good use of fortitude. I was using fast deflection, but then I decided to use vigor, mostly because Ember is a caster, and it's mostly because of the bleed proc, to have a little more health to help in it is especially for tower 4 missions or tower 3, but especially for tower 4 missions. Well, Ember there, it's very easy to die, so at least this helps a little bit. As my primary, I'm going to play with a weapon that we don't see much nowadays in online, that is the Flux Rifle. It was a weapon that doesn't benefit with the change in damage, but now with the introduced fanged fusillade, it make a very interesting weapon. That's why I choose this weapon right now, mostly because, well, it have the same build as the others, but I decided to put here fanged fusillade. As you can see, there's a lots of forms here because I changed it. I had another polarized slot here that was for hammer shot. Hammer shot in the old damage build makes sense to use here. Right now, well, you can still go for status because the weapon have a lots of status chance, and putting here sorry, putting here hammer shot, it would give a little boost to your status chance to give a higher value, but I decided to boost the slash because, well, the first weapon where I tried Fanged Fusillade was the Burton Prime, and even that after 30 minutes in a survival, in a Tower 4 or Tower 3 survival, the weapon begins to lack damage. With that boost on the slash, it becomes a little more viable, at least to reach to 40 minutes. So after that experience with Branton, I decided to boost all weapons that have a slash orientated damage that doesn't that how should I say, that doesn't have a high area W damage. I decided to go with the slash damage, boosting the slash damage, and I'm liking the results. Of course, this is my personal preference. My secondary, well, I decided to go with Marelok because it is a weapon that it's all about damage. There's no, it have a lots of status chance, because if you make a damage build, even that you use other damage doesn't matter, because, well, you have the two primaries that only boost elemental, but then you will use the dual stat mods, and with these dual stat mods is where the status becomes so high. The weapon already have a lots of damage. As you can see here is the corrosive damage that the weapon have, all these elemental with the high slash but even higher impact. With this status chance, well, everyone know this weapon, it's one of the most OP weapons in the game. I think I'm sure above this one only Brack, because, well, we all know Brack, even with the nerf, it's still a very powerful secondary that put lots of primaries to shame. So this is not, you can still play with these two slots because you have so higher status and so much elemental that you can even put a reload here or a magazine that you won't feel the damage become flat in gameplay. It is very, very powerful. I don't like to go in normal missions with these weapons because, well, they are too powerful, and I like to use them in survival, excavation, or any endless mode, because it is easy at start, but after a point the weapon is adequate for the kind of enemies the game throw at you, so it's very useful. In my melee, well, I only saw I only saw now, but, well, I'm not going to change. This is another slash damage weapon. There's not much to say. Damage card, and I use the two, but you can still use only buzzkill, remove jagged edge. Only buzzkill give you a lots of slash. If you want to use another card here, I prefer to use these two. I'm finding high slash damage on later levels make melee more viable to use against any enemy, so I'm making all these weapons that have higher slash physical damage. I'm making a dual slash card. Well, it's all. I'm not going to do a tower 4, I'm going to do a tower 3. I will make a video about Kudros because there is something that I want to share. This is another Kudro. I think in my last video, I think in one of the last ones, I talk about the way to get the Kudro you want. I try the same way 2 times. And I thought, well, 1 maybe coincidence, 2 I don't know, but this time it happens again. And well, but I explained that in a later video. When I'm going to make a new breed with Ahuras, I'm going to explain how to achieve, how to get what you want. Using breeding and imprints. Well, as void, I'm having lots of trouble to farm Squindo. I wasted almost all my keys. I didn't get one part. I already got lots of nicks, ecos, but the Sindus simply doesn't drop. The only keys I have now is 3 mobile defense and 20 survival 1 keys to get the handle and to get the blueprint. It's very hard. I wasted all my tower 1 exterminate and didn't get the and didn't get the blade. I already said that. I think it was on purpose to make the parts on Tower 1 because the Tower 1 keys are endless key grabbers. You use, let's say, you use 10 keys, you get 7 keys as a reward and 3 prime parts. It's very frustrating. And the problem is, it only gives Tower 1 keys. At least, if they decided to put all the keys in the pool, all the keys besides the Tower 4, I think the Tower 4 didn't make any sense, but at least Tower 1, 2 and 3 with the same chance to drop, it was different. You get keys, but you get keys that were useful to you. But the problem is, most of the keys, if not all, are Tower 1 keys. So it is a handless key grabber because you use a Tower 1 key, you get a Tower 1 key, you are going to use that Tower 1 key and get another Tower 1 key, and when you look at the time, you are playing for 2 hours and you are making Tower 1 missions because, well, the game keeps giving you Tower 1 keys. Well, this time there are 3 objectives. Let's see. Well, I almost lost my sentinel.
Still working on it. Defend.
one thing that I don't know if I already talked about this, but one thing to go farming, it's this kind of weapon. I prefer the Branton Prime, but this is also a good weapon to farm with Necros because, well, you can desecrate the 2 or 3 parts when you break the enemy. So you have better loot, you have more loot with the same chances. And from the same enemy, so I use it to use the Bolto Prime, but the Bolto Prime is mostly because I advise you to try take the Bolto Prime as your primary and the Aka Bolto as your secondary when you are doing a survival with a frame that is not Necro. You will see that with Bolto Prime and Aka Bolto you have better chances of the enemy drop a capsule with a headshot. It's I'm laughing because it may seem ridiculous, but it isn't. I do lots of survivals and I play with different weapons, and when I'm not playing with Necro, because with Necro you can't see the difference because he uses Desecrate and you can't feel the difference if it is desecrated by Necro or drop it by the weapon. But take another frame when you play survival and use the Bolto Prime as your primary and the Aka Bolto as your secondary, only because if you have to change to your secondary you use a Bolter weapon, because, well, I find it more easy to get capsules from the enemy. Almost, at least at start, but this is with all weapons. You have better drops at start, at later level it drops less capsules, but at start almost all headshots give you a capsule, oxygen capsule. And for instance, at 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you can still get a good amount of capsules if you go for headshots in the enemy. When I say headshots, it's point to the head. We know that the Bolto Prime and the Aka Bolto have bullet drops, so if you are too far away it's a little hard to get a headshot, but it's following this line. It's still based on chances. I'm not saying that it's not based on chances, but for instance, I find if I'm playing in survival with this weapon, with the Flux Rifle, and I'm with Ember. Let's imagine that I'm with Ember and I'm with the Flux Rifle, and then I go play another with Ember and the Bolto Prime or the Aka Bolto, and killing the same enemies, I get more capsules per enemy than with the Flux Rifle. And it was a coincidence if we are looking at one weapon, but it is exactly with the two similar weapons, that is the primary and the secondary, because the bottom, well, I'm with brakes, I don't know what happened, because it is with the two similar weapons. The Akabolto is also a bolter weapon. The only difference is a secondary. Well, this weapon is too powerful for this kind of enemy. If you take this weapon to an endless mod, you will see that at 30 minutes or 40 minutes you are still killing enemies. I'm not saying easy, but you will see that they drop more easily than with other weapon besides Brack, of course.
Drop me in and defend my position.
It is a very, very powerful weapon. There's no doubt about it. Well, I use this build mostly for these modes. Now they are coming few enemies, but the accelerant gives me the ability to stun them and then drop them. I can't understand how some people say accelerant is useless because, well, I did a video with Ember doing a mobile defense at first without accelerant, and if we compare that video with this one, I had more hard time to protect the objective alone than with this ability. So, well, I respect other opinions. If they say it's useless for them, well, I'm not saying otherwise. To me, it's very, very useful. Not only in this mode, but in defense also. Because now Ember is good to go to a defense mission alone. And in the older Ember, I don't find that if for instance, if it was a Grenier defense, I wouldn't take Ember to play a Grenier defense alone. Unless, of course, it was to make 10 waves or 15 waves. Okay. It's down here. I think I made a mistake. I don't know. I think I made. I was thinking that the way out is from there, so I had to return again. I think the targets should be marked by 1, 2, and 3. It was more easy for you to see the order you should take to complete the objectives. You see how the bleed proc do a lots of damage, so that's why I decided to use the vigor. It's mostly because of this, because the bleed proc on this kind of mission and on later levels against Rainier, it does a lot of damage, so it doesn't give you too much, but it is a little boost that Ember surely needs, because she doesn't have higher armor, so she's very sensible to damage, to health.
Terminal spotted. Upload and prepare to defend. This will take a moment.
It is always a lot of time to protect the objective. Almost 4 minutes. You see, the duration, what gives me is, it stands for a little time, and if I wasn't using the duration, it was a leader. I didn't saw it was a leader. Now the game is sending a lot of enemies. The game is sending a lot of enemies. Well, it's better to refill my health because I don't have much health.
Still working on it. Continue to defend.
I don't have ammo. And I don't have ammo. It's too much time. Almost 4 minutes. well, this is the kind of gameplay I make with Ember. Is based only on accelerant stand, and I didn't use much the fireball because I was protecting an objective, and as you can see in this last objective, 4 minutes I had to refill my energy because it's too much time. That's why I didn't use fireball much, to conserve a little energy, so I only use it accelerant. But in normal times, to protecting objective, I always use accelerant, and then when the enemies are close to each other, I use the fireball to put them on fire. It is a big help and helps to conserve a little ammo. Okay, it's done. This Ember with this build, it's very useful to play in mobile defense or even defense missions. It's completely different. First, because the accelerant gives you the stun that you really need, especially if you are playing alone. I play a lot more with Ember Prime now alone that I played at first when she had other kind of abilities. It was mostly because it was all damage orientated and she had almost nothing to protect herself against armored enemies, and now it's a little different because accelerant, it stops the enemy from firing against you, and if you boost it with the duration mods, you even have a little more time to think how you will deal with the situation. Okay, it's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, see you around.